Hello, everyone, and welcome to Adobe Live. I'm your host, Lalera, and today we're here with Ajene Pinnock as he walks us through his vertical video editing workflow. You create some stunning videos. They look so buttery. I love your captions. They're so dynamic, so I can't wait to see what you show us today. But AJ, for those who aren't familiar with your work, can you give a quick introduction, what you do, where you're based, all that?
Okay, so my name's Ajene Pinnock. Everyone basically calls me AJ. I'm a full-time creator on Instagram. Started editing around 2020, so that's when I really started to get into it. Edited for other people, so I just really got the reps in. And then I just try new things here and there. That's
Amazing. I
that's
love
pretty
that
much
you're
it.
saying that you get the reps in because I think a big part of editing is definitely that. Now,
Yeah.
what are you showing us today about your process? What were we working on? What kind of project is this? Give us a little overview here.
So this project is going to be a video for my Instagram, which is pulled up right now. And it's basically the video itself is basically creator advice. And I'm just going to show you how I usually would edit one of my videos. Usually takes about an hour,
Okay.
sometimes less. That's on average, depending on the length.
Okay. And what is the first step to this? I would love to know like how you organize it because 1 hour is pretty quick for editing. So I would love to see behind the
Yeah.
scenes here.
So essentially, I start off by doing a rough cut. And then by this point, I already know what I'm going to kind of put in the video. Like I try and use my own B-roll, so it's already like on my laptop or my hard drive. So
Mm.
it's more of a drag and drop and finding the right placement. I usually use the same sort of sounds, sound effects, music, and because I've done it a lot, as I said, I've put in the reps, it's kind of just second nature at this point when it comes to the captions and stuff.
I love it. You have like a tight method by this point. And
Yeah.
before we keep on going, I need to give everyone a reminder here to go ahead and subscribe to Adobe Live so you don't miss live streams just like this. And if you have any questions while we're here with AJ, go ahead, drop them in the chat, whether you're watching on Behance or YouTube. I'll be, making sure we get your questions answered. And let's keep on going here. So, what is this video about, AJ?
So this video, I've titled it Create a Mistake. And essentially it's basically a mistake creators make when they first start out. And I made it myself. It's basically when you post content and you don't see results straight away and you just think, maybe this ain't for me. And you basically give up. And I went through this thing where I was getting about on short form content about 300, 400, 600 views. And I was just like, man, I'm expecting to take off big time, going viral, hitting the millions, and it just wasn't happening. But over time, I improved on the way I spoke to the camera, different video formats, the editing, everything just, came together.
How many videos would you say it took to get to that point? Because I feel like people might think maybe on the third video, I'm getting there, but I want to know like a realistic number.
Honestly, I started YouTube in 2020 and I made, I want to say, I probably made about 30 long form videos, moved over to short form videos. Probably, I want to say I probably made 100 before I even started, like
There
seeing
you
any,
go. I
seeing any
love
motion.
hearing that because then people in the chat, they know like, all right, I've only maybe made 10. I need to be a
Yeah.
little bit more patient. I need to see how AJ does it, put in the reps, like you said. Um, and I'm curious, are you scripting these videos? Like, how do you get, I know
Ooh.
you have your own B roll, but the A roll.
So when it comes to actually shooting the videos, like when I started out, I was scripting it, but then I came to find out sometimes it's better if I put bullet points. Now, it depends on what sort of video it is. If I feel like I need to say it like in a certain way, I would script it out fully. If I'd rather have a more natural flow to it, I'd put bullet points just to remind me what I'm going to say. And then I'll say like each line by line or as much as I can, take a break, and then say the rest as I just remove the rest in the editing.
Okay, yeah, I feel like that makes a lot of sense. That way you can sound conversational, but then when you really need to, you're able to keep, the exact sentence structure just in case.
Yeah.
Do you have any tips for getting more comfortable in front of the camera? I know that's a really big one for people who are just
Ooh.
starting out.
So first I want to say get the reps in, first of all. But then after that, it's more of you want to first you want to look directly into the lens when you're recording your videos, but then you want to also see the camera as a friend. Talk to it like you would talk to one of your friends that are actually interested in what you're going to say, not a friend that's like, oh, they're just listening to listen, because typically the viewers that do watch your videos actually care what you have to say. But that's probably my main tip. Talk to it like a friend. And if you want, I heard this tip from somewhere else. You can say the name of the friend. So like I could say, "Hi, this is how you edit in Premiere Pro," and then just cut out the Kai bit when like cut out the name of the person when you're in the editing process.
Ooh, that's smart. I feel like that's a really good way to like mentally just like get yourself
Yeah.
there. Really cool. That's a really great tip. Okay, so let's go back into your sequence. Tell me more. What are we doing here?
Right. So I actually made a rough cut already, but I'll show you again from scratch. So I normally put all my content just into the Premiere Pro project, and I
Mhm.
put all my files in like monthly order. So this is
Okay.
October's content. I put A-roll, and then I've got audio because I record my audio separately and I sync it in post. So I'll just find the clip. It's creator's mistake. I'll just drag it onto my timeline. And then Premiere Pro comes up with this warning, and it's kind of just telling you, hey, we're changing the format. Do you want to change the sequence settings or keep it the same? I always press change because typically mine's just default to, I think it's 1920 by 1080, basically the YouTube format. But because I'm doing Instagram Reels, we just need that to change. Changes it for you without you going into the settings and needing to do that. And then I would go into my audio, drag it underneath, and I just leave the audio running for like all the reels that I record that day, and that's why it's so long.
Wow. I guess that's a sure way to make sure you don't like forget to turn it on
Yeah,
after you turn it off.
basically. And so, but sometimes it is scary because I get to the end and I'm like, hopefully I press record on the audio, or else
Oh,
I've recorded
yeah.
all my reels without or well, the mic audio.
Terrifying. Been there.
But yeah, you can easily sync by highlighting everything, right clicking, scrolling down till you see synchronize. Select audio track to one, press OK, give it about like, I want to say normally like 10 seconds.
Might take a little longer since you have,
Yeah, because the
more.
track
Oh,
is
there it
like
goes.
50 minutes, but it's still pretty quick. Then I'll just make the cuts, remove the excess, and then I'll also remove the default camera audio by just replacing it like that. And now everything's synced. I've got my Shure mic synced up. The next thing I'll do is just go to my text panel. And because Premiere Pro automatically transcribes everything, it's like already there. And if you press this button here, you can remove filler words and pauses and stuff like that. And because I do like line by line, pretty much, or as much as I can remember, there's a lot of pauses and there's a lot of mistakes. So I'll start with the pauses, like there's 36 in total. Press delete. And honestly, I've done this so many times. I trust Premiere Pro to do it pretty well.
So you
So
don't even review it? You don't even like go in there and double check
I do afterwards, but the
after? Okay.
cuts are, it's not typically cutting off my words. So
It's
I
true.
know it's not going to cut my sentence halfway through.
All right. You're putting full trust into it. I like it. I
Yeah.
like it.
So then I'll just press delete all. I'll come here and I'll see a bunch of cuts, right? And you might be
Mhm.
thinking, whoa, that looks nothing like this one over here. And all I do is then I go through the text panel again, the transcript, and I can see exactly what I'm saying. Typically, the last take of whatever sentence I'm trying to do is the one I go with. So I just, as you can see, I'm looking here, there's one thing that's stopping a lot of creators. Then I'll just go to the last one that I see, which is this one here. And if you click on it, your playhead goes to that point, and I literally just delete everything before it.
I like that you know that about yourself. I feel like it takes time to know which take is like your best one.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's like, for me, it tends to
There's
be the second take, and the last one, I'm already overthinking it.
To be fair, depending on the take and how many goes, if I think like let's say I've done four takes and I think the third one is good, normally I'll be like nice, just to myself, I'll be like nice. Then in the transcript you'll see nice and you might just stop and like be like, okay, maybe this was the correct take and you might review both.
Ooh, that's smart. I feel like it's a good idea to be like, give yourself a little cue there.
Yeah.
One thing that I wanted to ask you before we keep on going. So I know you had that 45-minute audio. Are
Mhm.
you always batch recording like that? Like, what is your preference there, and how did you get into that habit?
So I found the perfect routine for me is like I choose a filming day, and typically my filming day is Wednesday, which is going to be tomorrow. And I batch at least 7 short form videos, and that's because I film once a week. So I try and post daily. If I record 7, I can post Wednesday till Wednesday, and then I'll be recording again on Wednesday.
And for your long form videos, are you doing the same thing, something similar, or what's the
I'm trying
difference
to
there?
record 2 long form videos on the Wednesday.
Ooh, okay. So it's a long
It's
day
a
in front of the
long
camera.
Yeah, so and honestly, after the YouTube videos especially, it can get exhausting depending on how long the video actually is.
Dang, I like it though. I feel like when you have that dedicated day and you get everything ready, you're like, I need to get everything done today. I don't want to be back here tomorrow.
100%. And the thing you want to do is make sure you just get it out the way first.
The the
The
filming or the
recording.
setup, the
The
recording? Okay.
recording, yeah. Because
Yeah,
I've tried
don't
to
wait
leave it
till
till like in the evening and I was just like, yeah, this ain't happening today.
you're like, yeah, after dinner, I'll do it. I'll come back. I'll do the next video. And you're lying to yourself. You're definitely lying to yourself. I've been
Yeah.
there.
So I'll just go through again. This just looks like I'm messing up, but and I've been through it and I've been through it. Da da da. Oh, looks like that's the last take. I'd come here and I'll just remove everything prior. Then I'll move it up. Then I'll see what's actually going on here. Here's how you overcome it. And
I
then I've
love
also,
seeing this because I feel like a lot of people think creators, they just with the edit, it looks so like it just flows like it was one amazing take. But the reality is like you're stuttering, you're saying you're I like that I can see that you read like half your sentence, then you redid it, and that's the truth.
yeah, there's sometimes, I'll be honest, some of these raw clips are like 5 minutes, like video wise. And I'm just like, wow, I cut it down and it's actually like 40 seconds.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, 5 minutes to 40 seconds is so wild. Uh, but that's what it takes. That's what it takes.
So I've also got keyboard shortcuts, but the default Premiere Pro ones anyway, if you press Q, or well, if you press E, it will delete everything in front of the playhead, including the space up until the next cut, just like right now. And then if you press Q, it will delete everything behind the playhead up until the last cut. And that just saves me time instead of bringing out the cut tool and
True.
basically deleting the space, well, deleting the clip, then deleting the space. It saves a few seconds, but when you're doing something like this, it can save minutes.
When you're doing 2 long form videos and 7 short form videos, it's definitely saving
Yeah.
you some time.
Yeah. Um, let's just get through this. This is how you analyze it, analyze your content.
And how do you come up while you're doing that? How do you come up with these ideas? Or do you feel like um, you're having to put a ton of time into that, or that part just flows and then, the filming takes up more time?
Um, what I try and do now is like look through my own experience and stuff that I've been through. So in this video, I've even said like I've been through it and this is how you can overcome it. Just because I feel like it's a lot easier and it separates you from the crowd because a lot of the time everyone could just make like Premiere Pro tutorials, right? Or like creator advice, which they can get from other people. But if you've been through it yourself, it kind of gives you that extra credibility.
That's so true. And that way you're speaking from your own experience and you have that unique point of view. I feel like otherwise you're just getting like every idea from ChatGPT. Everyone ends up
Yeah,
having the
yeah.
same idea.
And then no one's standing out. So it's just like, what's the point?
Then it's going to take you way more videos.
Yeah, a lot more videos.
Now, before text-based editing, what did you do? Did you just listen to it,
Yeah.
or were you always using text-based editing?
I mean, because I started in 2020, there wasn't text-based editing back then. So like even back then I had to like manually do the captions, like just bring out the text tool and stuff like that. But
Oof.
when I was doing this before the AI transcript thing, I would just have to listen, but I would try and like skip ahead if I see like really small cuts because I know that's not the one I'm looking for.
Yeah, that's now we're so beyond that.
Um,
You're moving so fast through this sequence, and I feel like if you are just getting started with editing short form videos, you might be amazed to see how 5 minutes can turn into 45 seconds. But text based editing really can help you zoom through it, especially if you give yourself those cues. Now, if you have any more questions about text based editing here, please be sure to drop them in the chat. I'll be sure that AJ gets to them while he's cleaning up this sequence, because then we're moving on and I don't want you to miss your question.
what I find funny here is from 25 seconds. There's I even use some bad language, but I mess up so many times. I end up swearing, and then as you can see, the last take is all the way over here. I place a
Mhm.
marker just so I know not to delete anything else,
That makes
and then
sense.
just like that.
Usually, what kind of time are you trying to get your short form video under or around?
I don't actually aim for a time. If typically I found if I'm like giving out like a creator website or I'm doing a Premiere Pro tutorial, they are typically shorter,
Mhm.
like 30 seconds or less. But when I'm giving advice per se or my story or experience on things, it's normally above 30 seconds.
Okay. All right. I like that. Feel like do you sense like there's a preference on the different platforms? I know you're talking about YouTube Shorts, you're talking about Instagram.
Um, Typically I focus on Instagram to be honest. I feel like Instagram does kind of prefer shorter videos. Maybe that's just the people. On TikTok, kind of the same.
All right.
I guess it's all relative really. YouTube Shorts, some I don't even really bother with YouTube Shorts to be honest.
I'm
So sometimes
shocked to
it's just
hear that.
lazy.
I'm shocked to hear that you're not using YouTube Shorts if you're putting out long form video.
It's I just get really lazy sometimes to be honest. Like after recording 7 shorts and 2 YouTube videos
Yeah, I
and I've
don't blame you.
posted my shorts across everything. I'm just like YouTube. Oh, I've already posted my long form video.
It's true. It's true. I understand where you're coming from completely. I feel like I always have a backlog. I'm like, wait, I thought I posted that over there. Did I not? Did I do it? What's next? So I don't blame you. But I think I saw that YouTube Shorts is now going up to 3 minutes.
Oh, yeah, that's great as well because I do have like some Instagram videos above 60 seconds and I wasn't able to post that on YouTube. So I then kind
Hmm.
of just forgot about YouTube when I'm posting videos that are under 60 seconds as well.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah,
I feel like they're trying to really get TikTokers to start using YouTube Shorts. So they were like, let's make the limit a little bit longer.
I'm surprised they did that to be honest, because YouTube's normally, longer videos anyway. And if you're not watching something under 60 seconds, you're normally
I
watching a
know.
full-blown video.
I know. I thought it was interesting too, but I guess like the people who watch shorts on their phone and the people who watch long form, like maybe they're two completely different types of people or experiences.
Yeah.
Maybe it
So
works either way.
now that I've made all them cuts, in this recording batch, I kind of messed up my like camera shot a bit. If you look really close, the monitor is kind of lean, maybe like my friend just says I'm a perfectionist and then I would take things really too serious, but I was just like, oh my gosh, instead of recording everything again, I just clicked on a section, went to effect controls, and I think I zoomed in for about like 110. That allowed me to rotate the screen. Was it 1%? 1 degree, not percent.
Oh,
And then it kind of straightens it out. And then, yeah,
you're just trying to make it more pleasing to the eye.
yeah, pretty much.
It's
I
all in the
just
details.
adjust everything. Then I can just press copy, which is like Command C, I think. I've got a mouse that has different controls, so it's just a lot faster as well. And then I just paste those settings, paste those attributes onto the other clips because it's all cut right now. Then press OK, and then all the clips also follow that.
All right. Now it looks
Very
like
smooth.
one clean take. This
Yeah.
is a bit of a random question, but I feel like it's worth asking here. Do you switch your outfit when you're doing 7 videos in one day just to make it seem like it's different days, you know?
I think I'm not sure if I did in this batch. I rarely do it, but sometimes, only sometimes.
Okay.
Only
Because I feel
because
like it makes your feed look like, like it's different days.
yeah, it does to be honest. But because I'm sitting down and I'm just like, okay, maybe like certain days, well, certain recording days, I'm kind of like, I just need to get through this as fast as possible. I've got other stuff to do. I'm just like, the last thing on my mind is to change outfit.
Right. The fashion. I get it. Makes sense. Maybe if you were like if fashion was your niche, you'd be having to do this all the time.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm just creating an adjustment layer here because I use that when I'm doing like zoom ins and stuff like that instead of putting it on the raw clip. It's just
Okay.
become a habit. You don't have to do that.
What do you think is the benefit?
Well, adjustment layers affect everything underneath it. So there's times where I add a slow zoom. Maybe I want the text to be affected as well, or the graphic. I'll just drag the adjustment layer above the graphic or text instead of, having to reapply the zoom onto an adjustment layer and then remove the zoom from the actual clip. It's just a bit long-winded.
It's a little bit more flexible. Do you feel
Yeah.
like you reuse your adjustment layers? Like since this is all of your October content in this Premiere file?
Oh yeah, 100%. As you can see, I've got like different videos, like different sequences, sorry, laid
Hmm.
out here. So I've got like get 99% get ahead. That's just another video made talking about how to get ahead of 99% of the people. And typically what I would do is just speed up time is I would just come to the beginning of this, copy this adjustment layer, and then paste it here. And then this will probably be a zoom in. Oh, it's a very slow zoom, but it was a zoom in.
Right. Okay. So at this point, because you know yourself, you know that you like to have a zoom in the beginning. So you're
Yeah.
like, I trust that little adjustment layer was doing that.
Yeah, pretty much. I know exactly what's going to be where.
Got it. And what usually for the beginning, what do you usually like to do? Like a fast zoom, a slow zoom, or do you like switch it up? Because I know the first like 3 seconds I think are the most important. So I'm curious what you're
Yeah.
doing here.
So, like the first, I want to say, yeah, the first 5 seconds is where I normally put most of my focus. And because I've like done so much, I literally created my own presets, which you can see here, top left. And it basically saves me time. So I've got like video animations and I've got my favorite zoom sections. And I normally do
Oh,
a fast zoom in, and you can see I've put favorite because it's just my
okay.
go-to. And I drag and drop onto my adjustment clip. And now when I play, it's a fast. There's one thing that's stopping a bunch
Oh,
of creators in instead of me having to manually keyframe it every single time.
that's awesome and really, really smart.
Thank you.
Now, what's
There's
next
one thing that's
here?
stopping a bunch of creators right now.
What's so I'm curious, like, how do you go from this beginning into like the rest of the video? Like, you start off with so much action, then the rest of it, is it like chill, or do you keep up that pace throughout your whole video?
the pace slows down, and that's when I'll typically like probably use less transitions, um, less B-roll, and
Okay.
probably even less like dynamic captions.
All right. Do
Just
you
because
ever put B-roll in the first like 5 seconds? This is always something I think about. I'm like, I don't know if it makes it more interesting or it's better to just like keep the face up front.
so I try and show the face for like at least a second.
Okay.
But if I'm showing something or talking about something, I'd have that pop on screen while my face is there, or I just make it full screen. But
Mm,
I like to have my face on the first second at least, so they know
I
it's
get
my
it.
video.
Yeah.
So
I
then
love to see the thinking.
I kind of just listen back to what I'm saying, and then I kind of normally go from there. But since I've already did this, I've got like all the assets here ready. It doesn't even look like a lot of assets, to be fair.
I know. Do you
There's one
keep
thing that's
like
stopping a bunch of creators right now, and what was you gonna say?
do you keep a B-roll like folder or are you going through and like hand picking it for each video? Because I see you have like some
Uh,
B-roll in here that we didn't see in the A-roll.
yeah, so I've got a folder here called like Ajene B-roll. It's literally just, well, it says 9 clips, but the one I typically use is graded B-roll because these are the ones I actually cut up, and I
Mm,
don't think they have audio, so they're literally just B-roll.
okay, cool.
Makes it a lot easier. It is
For
right
sure.
now, and honestly, it nearly stopped me. So here, when I said it nearly stopped me, I went back to my first Instagram videos, and as you can see, they probably gained maybe a little bit more views because I've gained some followers. Maybe some people have gone back, but before these were like probably like 300 views, if that. They are still relatively low to what I do now, and
Hmm.
you can see the difference in editing and everything, and quality is just it's gone up. So I'd probably put a screenshot of me here, and I'll probably make it full screen. In fact, I am going to make it full screen. There's one thing that's stopping a bunch of creators right now, and honestly, it nearly. So I'm going to show a little before, and I could show an after. So this is like a screen recording of my profile. And if I double click on the asset, I could press I or O to start an in and out point. I'll just go literally milliseconds, press an out point, drag it from the video. Then I'll be able to basically just have an after to show the growth on my Instagram.
Nice. Impressive for sure.
Then I'll just fully zoom in. There's one thing that's stopping a bunch of creators right now, and honestly, it nearly stopped me. It's your ability to keep going even when there's no. It's your ability to keep going even when there's no motion. Now, I can even flick back to these just really quickly. So I'll just make them really short,
Hmm.
make it full screen. And then an effect I like to use now, I have the screen recording of me going through my Instagram. Now that is what I'm going to use for when I'm going to say your ability to keep going even when there's no motion. And for people that don't know what motion is, it's when like you basically got momentum.
Hmm. And then
So
you're showing the momentum happening.
yeah, pretty much. An effect I like to use as well is if you go into the opacity setting, if anything that's black and you change it to screen, it kind of fades away.
Hmm.
And I kind of turn it down just a bit until I feel like it looks right.
It's like the Matrix.
There's one thing that's stopping a bunch of creators right now, and honestly, it nearly stopped me. It's your ability to keep going even when there's no motion. And I've been through it too. And what I like to do to hide my cuts as well is a technique that I learned when I was like literally when I first started editing is if you got a lot of cuts like me, if you do a zoom in, if you do a zoom in after every cut, it kind of hides the fact that it's actually a cut.
Right.
So I've got like a rough cut 10%, 20%, and 30. I'll just drag it onto the adjustment layer. That's just me being super lazy because I could have just went onto the clip and zoomed in some more.
That's
It's your ability to keep
efficient.
going even when there's no motion. And I've been through it too, getting very little views for a long, long time. And here's how you can overcome it just like I did. Here's how you can overcome it just like I did.
Do you
For
tend to
this,
zoom in and out a lot in the video? Like now, like every other clip, essentially?
yeah, pretty much. Depending on how short the clip is. See, a clip
Yeah.
very short like this, maybe I wouldn't, because I've had feedback from some of my, well, probably one viewer out of how many. They were like, good video, but a lot of zoom ins, like a lot of rough zoom ins. And I was like,
Wow.
I'll take that on board, but I haven't had it from anyone else.
Nobody else said it, so maybe the exception, maybe the exception.
Yeah. So for this one, I don't want to make this full screen again because I've already showed it like twice. So instead, I'm just gonna crop it so it just shows my professional dashboard and my followers. Um, I've got a crop preset. Again, this is me being lazy, so I don't have to search for anything because it's literally just a plain crop that I have to adjust myself.
Oh, okay.
So I'll crop that out, crop the top out, keep my name in, zoom out a little bit, and I'll put this underneath right here. And if I do struggle to see sometimes, because this screen it is a bit small, I'll come up to window, workspaces, and I'll change it to the vertical workspace. And it jumps up on the right side. So now it's kind of like in the format of like my phone. So it's just bigger to see. It's just bigger so I can see where the text is, how big graphics really are, and if things are aligned properly.
Get the details. If you don't, like, for example, anyone at home who's watching, maybe they don't have these presets, right? Because they're your presets.
Mm-hmm.
Can you show maybe the way to do it from scratch or how to create a preset, whichever one?
Yeah, sure. So the most so you can create a preset pretty much on any effect, but let's say for a zoom in, you want to come up to the effects tab, type in transform, and then you'll see transform here. Let me just get an adjustment layer. So we got an adjustment layer here. Let's say we're going to drag it onto the adjustment layer.
Mm-hmm.
You will drag it on, then you go to the effects panel, the effects controls panel, and then if you scroll down, you'll see transform. So this is the effect you'll be editing. To start a keyframe, you just press this little clock thing on the left. I typically always press position and scale. For a zoom in, you're going to need scale, but position, you can just readjust if you want it up or down or left or right. You can move a few frames forward on the playhead, depending on where you want your zoom to end. If it's a fast zoom, obviously closer, slow zoom, further away. So let's say I wanted this to be a slow zoom. I'll move it towards the end or the very end. Zoom in, let's say 120 on the scale. If you feel that's too close, you can go back to 110, 115, adjust the
Feel it
position.
out.
Yeah. And then it basically, you can see it sets new keyframes here, just like it did at the start. And that's when you know it's actually set in place. You can also move these to the very end or move it closer if you need to. And then to save that as a preset, if you found like, oh yeah, this is perfect, that's the perfect zoom, you would come to transform, right click, save as a preset, then you can name it whatever you want. Well, the D on my keyboard doesn't work very, very well. Yeah, I probably should change that.
Or you could just
But yeah,
always put a keyboard shortcut on your mouse.
yeah, I could actually. So there's Adobe demo. You want to set it to scale. If it is something like, let's say, a fast zoom in, that's only meant for the beginning
Mm-hmm.
of a clip or an adjustment layer. I always choose anchor to endpoint. If it's for the back end of an adjustment layer or clip, I'll anchor to the out point. But because this is a slow zoom in meant for the whole adjustment layer clip, I choose scale. Scale is typically the normal one that you'll go for anyway.
All right.
So that's the preset, and then whatever you saved it as, it will show up in the preset section, and you'll be able to just drag
There
it
it
on.
is. And then you can
Yeah, there
just
you go.
drag it onto future adjustment layers. That is a really, really good time saving trick, especially, when you're editing a ton of short form or any kind of videos, really. And
Yeah.
I think the coolest thing about that is that it helps create like consistency. And
Oh,
that's going to help with branding too.
100%, 100%. Um, yeah. I typically obsessively like watch through the clip as well, just to make sure I haven't missed anything. And I could make this because I also have like a preset to slide animation, to slide like graphics in. It's called like slide in and slide out. Let's say I want this to slide upwards. I'll just drag it onto the clip. And now my Instagram time.
And here's how you can overcome it
My
just like
Instagram will
I did.
basically slide up instead of just being statically there. Just to add a
Nice.
bit more motion to the video.
I love the drag and drop way that you're working. It's making it so much faster.
Oh, it's a lot faster. A
It's
lot
really
faster.
smart.
Bonus points if you can get a friend or someone to review your video without
So
holding
typically I
back.
do
And
go
then
through a process. So I do the rough cut, then I'll add the zooms.
Mhm.
But I was just showing you guys how I'd basically go throughout the video.
Rough cut,
So
zooms, maybe then
zooms,
graphics.
yeah, and then the graphics. It's a lot faster if I do zooms, knowing that, I'm gonna zoom either slowly or I'm gonna do a rough cut after every cut. And I'll
Mhm.
just basically know where to put the zooms really. So let's say I'll do a rough cut here. Sometimes if I am doing another rough cut, I'll just hold Option on Mac. I'm not sure what it is on like Windows. And you'll basically duplicate it. And then I can duplicate it. And because I know I've put the rough cut on this adjustment layer, it will be over here as well.
whether they're sad, angry, inspired, or educated. And if you comment 24, I'll send you 24 emails over 24 days to help you build your personal brand.
So that's probably the amount of zooms I'll use. Maybe I'll use a slow one at the end. Depends if I'm depends if I watch it back and I'm like, nah, it's a bit boring. Then I'll probably add a bit more.
Do you think you're like a harsh critic when you're watching back these videos, or are you just like whatever? Only the first 5 seconds matters.
I think I'm a hard critic. I mean, I've also wanted to get someone to edit my videos, but I'm also like, I'm scared I'm gonna be too harsh on them, so I'm kind of refrain from it. I don't know though.
We'll have everyone in the chat hit you up. Now that they know exactly how you edit, they'll be like, "I'll do everything just like that tutorial."
And I'll still find something wrong. Like maybe I wouldn't do this, but yeah. So then,
Views for a long time. And here's how you can overcome it just like I did. You need to analyze your content and find ways to
so when I
improve
say
your video.
analyze my content, I brought like some old content here. This is like from a raw video. I was setting up a desk and I was kind of talking to the camera. It's funny, I actually never posted this video.
It happens.
So then I would disable, if I press Shift and A, I disable clips. So then it just gives me a black background. And that's because I'm not going to fully zoom in. I'm just going to leave this out a bit.
Hmm.
And then I'll basically show my old content just to show that I've, analyzed my own content and improved once I show one of my latest videos.
Right. Do you ever get like self-conscious showing clips from when you first started out?
I mean, sometimes I look at them and I think, damn, that was really bad. I actually thought that was good. But it's part of the process. And someone told me it shows that you're improving. So you can't be mad at yourself. And you didn't
So
know any
true.
better back then.
So true. And I feel like it gives you again like that. It shows that credibility. Like, look, I was once where you're at, or even worse.
Yeah, yeah. So after I do all of that, let's just focus on the first 15, just because we don't have all day. I would recently Premiere Pro made an update and I've actually gone back to using strange. Let me just reopen
No.
that. That I wasn't even doing anything. Premiere Pro made an update, and oh yeah.
It said update. Hold on.
They made an update, and the transcriptions like became a lot more accurate, and they do numbers now. So like if you say like I made $52,752, it would show the dollar sign and give the numbers as well. And everything's just a lot more accurate as well. So I've started using the transcription when it comes to captions instead of like a third party plugin, which I had to pay for. So that's a money save.
Ooh, okay.
So I'll come to text, come to CC, create captions, and I like to have like a few words, if like one to three words. Typically that's around like 15 characters, single lines, and I'll just press create captions. And it literally creates my captions just like that. And
So
then
fast, so easy. I feel like
so
it's
fast.
so nice because it's exactly what you edited to, so you know it's like correct by this point, or you should.
Yeah. And then I've also got like my text that I normally use. So I've saved it as a like preset thing, and I'll show you how to do that. So then it just makes all your text basically the branding, size, position that you want it to be. So I'll literally come to text on one of the like text clips,
Mhm.
change it to the font that I want. Let's say SF Pro, let's say heavy. I'll change the sizing. I'll put it in the middle, adjust the height a little bit. And then if this is how I wanted it, I would press the plus button right here, create a style, name it whatever I want, press OK. And now that that style is selected, all of the other clips should be in that style. And if you have multiple styles, you can basically change it to that.
So nice, and it again keeps it very consistent without having to do too much thinking.
It saves me so much time, honestly. And
Now, I
yeah,
know you have a lot of captions that are like big, small, they move. I want to know how you're doing that because I know people want to do that and it's a little tricky. It's a little bit more than just what you showed us.
yeah. So to do those captions, Premiere Pro added this a while ago, but when I started, it wasn't there. Um, they added captions, so I would like, let's say I wanted to make like these three captions really dynamic and change size. I could
Hmm.
obviously just change the size right now, and that would make all of them, because I've highlighted them, a different size to the previous ones. But I sometimes like to stack them, and you can't do that when they're in the captions like tile. So what I would do is I would highlight them, come up to graphics and titles, and press upgrade to caption. Now they're like actual graphics, and you can drag them on top of one another, just like that, and then drag it to the last one, so they all kind of layer one another. And then I'd basically start adjusting the position. And this is like manual. There isn't actually a faster way to
No
do it.
preset here for this.
No preset for this one. So this is why sometimes you'll see it, sometimes you won't. And I found the fastest way to change the size is just come into this like scale icon here in the essential graphics. And then I'll just scale it, adjust the size, the position. Let's say I want to put a bunch of creators. And I'll basically just play around with it until I actually like it. Let's say I don't like it there because the text might be just coming off the screen. I'll just put it underneath.
Do you feel like
And
the
adjust
first
it.
video you really like start doing this and then the last edit, it's like just we don't need dynamic captions anymore.
Yeah, pretty much. Because I also edit in batch. So I'll
Yeah.
record seven and then I'll try to edit seven. Typically, I'll get to about four before my brain is just absolutely tired. And by the fourth one, anyway, I'm just like, you know what? The normal captions are fine. Maybe I'll change the size.
Like they get it. The point is strong.
But yeah, and also I'll just change the color as well. Typically, I use like an orange. I actually don't even have a hex code, which is like a specific color code for it. I just normally go to the corner somewhere around here, and that's the orange I use. And then I've
I'm
also got
surprised
text
because
on
you
top.
have so many presets. I would think you would have a preset for that.
You know what? I should, but
Eventually.
I don't really use a lot of color to be honest. Like
Fair.
I thought just black and white, just nice and simple. But in my presets as well, I've got like text animations which I've, just made because I thought sometimes the text can look boring. My
Hmm.
favorite one is the text fader. I'd highlight all the text and then drag it on to the graphics, the graphic text,
Hmm.
and it will apply to all of it. So now it looks something like this.
There's one thing that's stopping a bunch of creators right now, and honestly,
It's like a smooth little fader.
It looks so subtle, but it's so nice.
Yeah, the thing I've kind of gone for over the years is more like you can call it like a clean aesthetic, nothing too like over the top, but
Right.
not too boring and still.
I love that you're using those presets for that because that's a really finicky thing to do, especially if you're trying to like apply that effect to all of your caption track. You'd
Yeah.
be there forever. You give up, essentially. You don't do it.
And my favorite plugin, which it started off free, well, it's still free. I actually pay for mine now. I have no reason to because I still use the free version. It's called the starter pack. The rest are like paid, but the starter pack literally gives you everything. And it's like customizable, like literally free. And you get like sound effects, you get shape elements, social media stuff. Like let's say I forget to put like a call to action. I could go to the social media, go to like let's say this Instagram, and I'll just drag it on somewhere towards the end where I'm meant to have my call to action. Drags on just like that. Imports, give it a few seconds, and then I can customize it by putting my name, and then just like that, I've got an Instagram graphic
That's
completely for free.
amazing.
And I'll put it at the top somewhere here. And you
And
can,
again, you're like introducing these elements of consistency while still keeping your workflow super, super fast.
yeah, it's literally it's these little things that make the whole process a lot easier and less of a headache. So you can actually produce those hundreds of videos that you need to actually get some motion.
I was wondering, do you have any like go-to call to actions that you tend to use in your videos? I know we only have like, you know, a few minutes here, but I'm curious.
So my go-to call to action used to be follow me for more,
Hmm.
but because I kind of like study the algorithm and like how to go viral and how to build a brand and stuff like that, I've tend to either go for the call to action of comment down below a certain keyword. One, because
Okay.
that drives engagement, plus I can give them a freebie.
Hmm.
The second call to action, I usually would implement somewhere at the start, depending on the video. And it would be something like share this with a friend, so that they know, and then I'll go into the video. Or sometimes I'll put that at the end and then turn it into a loop. So it would be like share
Ooh,
this with a friend so that they know how to create captions in Premiere Pro. And the how to
right.
would be the start of the video. Share this with a friend so that they know would be the end, and then it just loops seamlessly.
That's a great one. I feel like everyone on the stream should be writing that one down because that's a really good one that you can use no matter what kind of video you're making, and keep it engaging and make sure people are watching your video more than once and sharing it. So it's super smart. Now, what final touches do you do here? I know right now you are looking at some audio effects.
Yeah. So typically, once I'm done putting the graphics and zooms on, I'll come to like Premiere Composer. It's just a lot easier. Again, starter pack gives you literally so many sound effects. I can't believe it. Um, and the wine glass effect, you might be thinking, what the hell? But if you play it in reverse, it sounds like a tension riser.
Ooh.
So then I literally just press add and I normally drag it in around 4 seconds, 3 seconds, depends where the first cut is.
Mhm.
Turn it down a little bit. If you press G, this audio gain will come up. -15, play around with it.
honestly, it nearly stopped me. It's your
And then it
ability.
kind of just gives you a nice transition into the next clip.
I like it. I feel like that's really clever and, keeps it all moving, which is essential in those first 5 seconds.
Yeah. It's that was actually my hidden technique. I don't
Ooh,
speak about that a lot.
now you guys have all the secrets.
Yeah. Um, yeah, then after that, probably a bit of music.
Right. Do you ever
But
use music that's just right in the platform, you know?
yeah, so when I started, obviously I had no money. So I was like, all my money's on Premiere Pro. They literally, what do they have for me? And then I found the music tab and I was just like, oh, they actually have some music on here. And
Yes, you can
they've
use
actually got
Adobe
a bunch of
Stock.
genres. Yeah.
And I want to point out, just because you were talking about it 2 seconds ago, they also have the sound effects, which I feel like you could find
Oh
some
yeah.
really cool free ones too.
There's one thing that's stopping a bunch of and honestly it
A whoosh.
Very loud.
I typically use whooshes when there's like a graphic sliding in or something like that.
Amazing. AJ, you've shown us so much today. This was such a fast edit. I am shocked. I can't wait to make a ton of presets for myself. But where can people go to see the final version of this video? Is this video out yet, or is this like a sneak peek? What are we
This is a
seeing?
sneak peek. This video is not actually out. I'm probably gonna release
Wow.
this in the next few days because
Okay.
obviously I'm gonna literally probably finish it off in the next 10 minutes, export it, and then just have that as a backlog. But you'll see it on my Instagram. And because you said it, you'll see it on my YouTube shorts.
Do you use the cover photos just like the ones from your video from the actual captions, or are you importing?
I'm actually just choosing whatever's on the video.
Ooh, that's amazing because I feel like people can really like sit there and try and perfect that. But I like that you are going for fast. Like you
Yeah.
are really, really editing quick.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, I've spent times creating cover photos and I'm just like, it doesn't, they don't care about that. Like, typically when people find you, the video's already playing and they don't see the cover photo or the real cover or whatever.
It's true. It's very, very true. And I'm surprised to see you didn't do any, or maybe we didn't get to it, intense like audio editing, but like you said, you record the audio separate. So,
Oh, I record the audio separate, but quickly, if we do have time, I would come up to audio track mixer. And because all my audio is on audio track one, I would just
mhm.
need to play with this section right here. Typically, I'll add let's say a denoise, change that to like 4 or 5%, add a single band compressor, and I'll turn up the gain just a little bit because I don't have a cloud lifter for the Shure M7B. SM7B. Put the threshold to about 16, ratio to about 3, 2.5. Play around with it. And then the last one is I add a hard limiter just so I don't peak, and I'll set that to around like -6. And then that affects everything on audio track one, so I don't have to worry about it.
Wow, I feel like you really have that process dialed in, and I am going to be sure to use that in my next video because I want to see. I love seeing the different kind of formulas people use for audio editing. So thanks so much for squeezing that last tip in. Now, everyone, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to follow AJ over on his Instagram so you catch his latest videos and also over on his YouTube. But before you go, also hit subscribe on Adobe Live so you don't miss our next stream. So thank you so much. We went over so much, literally from start to finish, which is super impressive. But don't go anywhere, everyone. Don't go anywhere because up next is Homework Studio with Noam Suzman and Ali Keller. So thank you so much, AJ. Anything
Thank you.
else you need to plug before we go? Anything else? You got 1 minute.
1 minute. I mean, check out my Instagram. That's my main platform. Then YouTube. I'm trying to reach my brand.
That's right. Go
I need
help
some
him
watch
out.
hours.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.